The story of the ant and the grasshopper. Many of you may have heard it. Pardon me if you have. But even if you have, there's something to be learned. If you haven't heard it, the story is basically about the ant and the grasshopper during the summer. The grasshopper is singing and dancing and enjoying the sun and the great weather, while the ant is constantly working to store food for the winter. And the grasshopper observes the ant, searching everywhere for seeds and little foods and taking it into its hole, and ridicules the ant. And when the winter comes, the grasshopper finds himself in the cold, dying of hunger, while the ant is sitting in its warm hole, enjoying all the food that he had stored over the summer. The obvious moral of this story is very clear, and we can see that the ant did the right thing in terms of preparing for a rainy day, preparing for the cold days. And the grasshopper wasted its time, singing and dancing. But there's also another side to the story, and that side is that the ant did not give himself a break, did not enjoy at all the summer. He was working all summer, day and night, all days, and forgot to enjoy the good weather and the sun and everything. So he was unaware and ignored the balance in life. So it's very quick to judge. Obviously, the ant was doing the right thing, but when you look a little deeper, you realize, well, maybe he went too far. And isn't that what most of us do in life? We do something too much, and by the time we realize, the time has already passed, and we don't have the chance to relive. But those of us who are wise seek knowledge. Those of us who are wise spend our time learning from the mistakes of others. This is a theme I repeat in just about every video, because it's a philosophy I've adopted that I think each and every one of you can benefit from. Every human being, every living person can benefit from this, and every living person who ignores this is guaranteed to bring harm and misery to themselves. How can you not benefit from the success of others and avoid the pain and the misery and the mistakes of others by observing what others have done and learning what to do, and much more importantly, what not to do? I've seen in travel guides, they say, for example, when you go to such a place, go here and see this and do that, but very few of them mention what not to do in many places that you go, even in the places that city and country where you're living at. It's very important to know what not to do. Same with business, same with interpersonal relationships, marriage. It's very important. Actually, I'd say more important to first be taught what not to do, what actions not to take. For example, when you see someone, a woman you're dating, if you're a man, and you go out 2-3 times and everything is so beautiful, don't quickly decide, wow, this is so great, maybe we should get married, and you go ahead and buy a ring and actually go get married. And then 3 months later, you find that you've made one of the gravest mistakes of your life. Not because the marriage is wrong, but because you rushed into it. Have you seen the scene in the movie Fargo? Many of you may have seen it. There's a movie called Fargo, I don't know, 10, 20 years ago. There's a very depressing scene where the policewoman is having a sort of like a reunion lunch with one of her old classmates, an Asian gentleman, in some diner restaurant in Minnesota. And the man is pretending to be successful and happy and everything. and still has an interest in the woman, but the woman is in a completely different place in life. I wonder if you've seen that. If you haven't, you should see that movie. That's a kind of a black comedy movie. But given the fact that about 99.9% of the movies these days are absolutely junk, not worth watching, unwatchable, this movie had some good scenes in it. And this is a scene that you should see because it, well, you know, art imitates life. And in this movie, there's a scene where the woman is with this ex-classmate, I guess, and at first he pretends to that things are going well and everything, and then he breaks down, literally in tears, and basically spits out the real fact of what's going on in his life, that he's miserable, he's unhappy, and he's nowhere near where he wants to be in life. Lessons to be learned from others, and thank God for the mediums that are available to us in the palm of our hands. If we only seek knowledge, it is there. It's our choice whether we can watch a meaningless comedy skit, or as I always say, for example, a cat video. I actually like cats, but it's a metaphor. Or we could spend our time learning things that are going to move us leaps and bounds forward in such shorter time to where we want to go in life. Of course, any wise person knows, and I remind you, you have to first have a destination. You have to first know where you want to go before you start the engine and start moving towards that destination. First determine where you're going, and then just take the action. And once you're headed in the wrong direction, all you have to do is keep going. All the best.